mean, I'm on. One night, my husband came home, and it was novelty night, and he came home, and I said, honey, when you married me, you told me that I would have the best of everything, and that I'd have a wonderful housekeeper, and it was me, you know. And I said, I've never really asked you for anything, but I would like a mink coat. I said, I'm not issuing an ultimatum, but mink coat or twin beds. And he's a very practical man. He said, you'd look silly wearing a bed. He said, go and buy yourself a mink coat. Well, when my husband said that I could go get a mink coat, I naturally rushed into New York, and I went looking, and I found a coat, a beautiful coat that I wanted so much. And my husband said I could have it, and then he found out it was a retail store. So he's the type of guy, he can't stand to see you get stuck retail. So he had connections. He knew a fellow who had an uncle who had a friend, a cab driver, who knew somebody who knew a fella on 30th Street in Skins. So we set up an appointment with a carrier pigeon, and we made an appointment 4 o'clock in the morning with this wholesaler. But before you do this, you take a pledge, you take an oath, you sign in blood that you'll never tell out where you got it. Well, my husband and I, we wait for a foggy night, we sneak up to the showroom. We get there 4 o'clock in the morning. The place is filled with people waiting for coats. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these wholesale showrooms. Furrier comes out of the vault. He's dragging something behind him. It's his partner. And he says, what can I do for you? I said, I want a mink coat. He said, well, all right, what kind of mink? I said, I don't know anything about minks. I want a coat my friend should take one look and drop dead. Well, he said, you came to the right place. More people die from coat sport here than any other area in New York. And he gives me some unnecessary advice. He says, don't go away. It took me 8 years to get this miserable nudge to bring me up there. He says, don't go away. I said, you can lay book on it. If the building burns, I go with it. I'm not leaving. And he goes into the closet, he takes out a gun, he's going in to shoot me a fresh coat. Now he comes out of the vault, and he's dragging this coat behind him. And he tells me, he says, you never in your life saw a coat this luxurious, this fragile, this delicate, this fine. And he takes the coat and throws it on the floor. And when it's on the floor, he says, look a coat. Look a coat. If he holds it up like this, you can't look a coat. Only on the floor you look a coat. You want to try it on, you lay down, you creep into it. That's how you try it. So I looked that coat. I said, well, it looks very nice on the floor. How do you think it'll look on me? He's a real diplomat. He says, even on you, the coat will look good. You know, I used to wonder why they throw these things down on the floor. Do you ever see them when they throw them down on the floor? I found out. That's so when they tell you the price, you'll have something soft to faint on, you see. Look, a coat. I'm looking. I said, well, it looks nice. It looks expensive. How much is it? Don't worry, we'll get together. I said, I don't want to join a club. I want to know the price of the coat. Hey, he says, don't aggravate me. Whatever I charge, I lose money. I said, how can you lose money and stay in business? He said, well, I fool around with the books at night. I said, how much is the coat? He says, before I tell you how much the price is, I want you never in your life saw a coat like that. He said, that's not an ordinary coat. He said, these skins don't run up and down. They run down and up. And this coat, you can live in it, sit in it, feel the puch. I said, feel the who? He said, don't feel the who, feel the puch. I didn't want to feel it because I thought puch was not a nice word. So I stood there trying to look intelligent, you know. He said, why are you looking so stupid? Why don't you feel the puch? I said, I'll tell you the truth. If I knew where to find it, I'd feel it. I don't know where to look. But you see, I didn't want this fellow to think that he was dealing with an absolute greenhorn, you know? I didn't want him to think I was a novice. And I'm not particularly bright, but I watch people. I learn a lot from observation. And I have a girlfriend who goes around blowing on fur coats in stores. So I figured I would impress him, you know. So I blew in the coat. He said, what are you looking for, fleas? He said, what are you blowing? It's not soup. What are you making a production? Feel the puch. I said, well, look, when I went to college, I didn't major in puch feeling, you know. Be a sport. Give me a hint. Give me like a clue, man. He said, all right, I'll give you a clue. He said, puch is a word used by furriers. It's used in the trade. It's a Russian word. It's just a trade expression. It's nothing more than, it's thickness. It's like the pile on a carpet. It's thickness. That's all it is, thickness. It's thickness. Now feel the puch. Well, I was relieved. And I did as he told me. I felt it, and it was thick. The furrier was inside sewing in a lining. I said, well, I'll tell you the truth. I can't stand the coat, but I fell in love with the puch. I said, all right, now, how much do you want for this coat? Now, up to now, this furrier has had no trouble hearing me. But have you ever seen a furrier in skins on 30th Street, quaintly doing what is known as figuring a price? He is figuring a price. He holds his hands over his eyes, like the whole thing is giving him such a headache. And he looks up at the sky and he says, Diane. Oh, he's getting a message from the minx up here, I want you to know. He says, this coat, he looks at the coat like, who brought it in? He never saw it, you know. This coat, for you, then he looks around to see who's listening, for you, in case you brought a spy along, for you, this coat with the lining. I'll make you a price I myself shouldn't hear. This coat with a box. I wouldn't say much. I'll let you have it at cost. I said, how can you sell to me at cost? He says, I buy below cost. It's all right. You can have it at cost. I said, look, before the coat goes out of style, how much do you want for the coat? He said, this coat, you can have it for All together. I said, look, I can't read code. Please tell me how much you want for the code. Let's either do or don't. He said, all right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm not coming to a hasty conclusion because I have a reputation in this business. I don't make rash promises. With me, I don't haggle and I don't bicker and I don't argue. With me, if I give you a word, is a word. If I give a price, is a price. And a word is a word. My last word, $6,500. I said, 65. He said, shh, don't holler. I just thought of another word. He said, if I don't put string on the box, $2,300. You know, when I walk out on stage now, the first thing I do, I stand, I let everybody take a good look at me, and then I say, oh my, didn't she get fat? Well, you see, this is done for two reasons. It's psychological. It's intended to put the audience completely at ease because I am fat, and yes, I am. Don't argue with me. No, I really am. But you see, rather than have people feel uneasy because they say, oh, gee, didn't she get heavy? You know, I tell them first, because I did. As a matter of fact, today, all I ate all day, you wouldn't believe it, one piece of fruit, a watermelon. But you know, it's so easy to come up with excuses, honestly. Every time I have to do a show on TV, like for 4 or 5 days before I have to do the show, I go on a real mad, crazy crash diet. I hate the world. I'm so irritable. I'm so nasty. I snarl at the dog, and honestly, it's awful. And then after the show is over with and I can finally breathe again, you know, then I go back to eating again. But I'm honest about it. I have no excuses. Many people have excuses. They come up with all kinds of, people just don't want to admit that maybe they gained a few pounds. They come up with all these bits like today they're blown up with air. or else lately they've been retaining fluids. You know, like martinis and beer. Or else there's another one, they have big bones. And the bones get bigger with every meal. Well, I have no such excuses, I'm sorry to say. I'm not retaining fluid, I don't have big bones, I'm not, none of that jazz. My husband said I've reached the age where a good meal means more to me, and I think that's about the only explanation. Well, all right, let's face it. I joke about it. People say to me, gee, you have such a wonderful disposition. You're always making jokes and blah, blah. Well, I'm not always making jokes. Sometimes it's a sort of a barrier. It's a defense mechanism that I develop because I'm self-conscious about being overweight. Actually, I'm not that fat. I still wear a size 12 dress, but I break the seams every time I get in, But my husband keeps reminding me of the time when I weighed 105 pounds, And I remind him that there was a time when I weighed less when I was born. I was only 7.5. But in any case, I joke about it, but I am seriously quite unhappy about the state of my figure. And I'm taking pills now, and they're just wonderful. They paralyze my mouth, so I can't eat. I tried everything. I went to a milk farm. A milk farm is, it's not well known to many people. It's comparable to a men's Turkish bath or any lady's gym, a place where they give you steam baths and they supervise your diet, and they have a masseuse who gives you a massage, and all of this makes you hungry, so you go out and eat, afterwards. But I did. I went to a milk farm up on the Hudson River, and it was wonderful. I was there 4, 5, 6 days. I lost $70. I'd never played so much poker. But they have supervised diet. And the women all sit there, and that's all they talk about all day long is, oh, how I'm watching myself. Do you know how many calories I had today? I'm watching myself. Then at night, they sneak out and they watch themselves eat hot fudge sundaes and French fried potatoes. But the saccharin they put in the coffee, you know, that's how they watch themselves. So they have a thing called a steam bath. Well, I had never been in a steam bath before in my life, and it's quite an experience. All the women are sitting around. It's all very chummy, you know, and you sit there, and it's so funny, the thoughts that go through your mind. You're so curious about the other woman's shapes, you know, but you don't want to stare because it's not nice, you know, and you haven't even been introduced, so, you know, you look every place else but at them, you know, you're dying to cop a look. So, and of course, no one has any clothes on, but that's silly for me to tell you. Who wears clothes in the steam room? Only the fellow who brings in ice water. So you sit there, and pretty soon, oh boy, you're perspiring and dehydrating, and you're getting so weak, you hate yourself for every mouthful of pie you ever ate, and you make all kinds of resolutions. If you lose, you'll never gain it back, and oh boy, and then you can't breathe anymore. You're just about to pass out with the heat, and you out of the corner of your eye, you look at the woman alongside you, and you think to yourself, gee, I wonder if her husband runs around. Well, then See, and then you look at yourself and you wonder about your husband. But, I only say that jestingly because this is for laughs, that's all, because not my husband, not him. Believe me, I can vouch for him. He's a coward. But, things today are different. My mother, she had no maid to come in and clean up. We had a dirty house. She had no, today children have to have pets. Today, you read child psychology, they tell you mustn't frustrate a child. Child should have something it can learn to lavish love and affection on. Like a hamster. God forbid it should learn to love the mother or father. You know, this is beside the point. A hamster. They say every child must be able to express this feeling of affection and love. Like my kid came to me, she said, Mommy, I'm lonesome. I want somebody to talk to. I want a dog. Because she knows how to talk to dogs, you see. So I haven't got enough trouble raising this kid. I needed a dog in the house, but I don't want to say no to her because she hits. So you reach a saturation point, and you put your foot down, and I put my foot down, and she stepped on it, and I got her the dog. Well, I am not sorry. I got her the cutest beagle puppy. First of all, I went to a kennels. And what do I know from dogs? Like the guide say, this is this kind of a dog, this kind of a... He was identifying them. Well, one dog came out, it had legs about 4 inches long in the front and about 2 feet long in the back. I said, that is a very strange-looking animal. He said, that's true, but that's the fastest dog in the world going downhill. I said, no, I'm sorry. I'm not sure that this is, I know he's an oddity, but I'd rather not. I'd rather have something that looks a little more normal, like a chihuahua. You know, if you lose him, you empty out your purse, he might be there, you know. But, so, in any case, he showed me a beautiful cocker. A beautiful thing, a black cocker with these gorgeous long ears and the big black limpid eyes. Oh, he was beautiful. And I said, oh, he's a beautiful dog. How much is he? He said, $500. And I said, $500? He said, well, he's not an ordinary cocker, he's a hunter. I said, what does he hunt, uranium? No. He said, this dog is an extraordinary dog because he really is. And I said, no, all right, he's a beautiful dog and I like him. $500, this is too much. I just can't afford it. I started to walk out. Well, you never heard such whining and baying and pawing at me. Not the dog, the fellow. No, in any case, I settled cheap. I settled for a canary. Yeah, but this was not just an ordinary canary. This was a canary that was guaranteed. You know, nowadays everybody wants to make records. If you sing, if you have a sound and you make records, you become a millionaire. So this canary sang. But in order to make this canary sing, you had to feed him a special kind of bird seed, you see. Well, I bought the bird seed and I bought the canary, and this bird, he weighed 1.5 pounds when I got him, and he ate this bird seed. He ate and he ate. In 3 months, he weighed 47 pounds. And he couldn't sing a note. In fact, he got so fat, he looked like King Farouk with feathers. And we had to take him out of the cage and give him a room for himself. But really, we got very attached to this little thing, and it's a pity the way he died. In the middle of a snack, he exploded. But,